Christian nationalists want to turn America into a theocracy, a government under biblical rule. If things go their way this election, it could mean more power for them and fewer rights for you. I'm Heath Drusen, and on the new season of Extremely American, I'll take you inside the movement that seeks to rebuild the country in God's image. Listen to Extremely American from Boise State Public Radio, part of the NPR network.
It's The Connector, Idaho Daily News from Boise State Public Radio. Good morning. It's Wednesday, January 29th. I'm Troy Oppie. This morning, some festival-goers in Boise City parks will be able to get boozy if they want, but only for this year. State lawmakers are proposing more property tax relief. And what happens if a court lifts a ban on Trump administration plans to pause federal grants and loans? Can Idaho use state funds to cover those costs? Those stories and more this morning on The Connector, Idaho Daily News. We start this morning, as we do so many mornings this time of year, at the statehouse. Idaho's State Office of Public Defense says it needs more money to fill dozens of attorney vacancies. As our James Dawson reports, the budget request comes as the office is struggling to represent indigent clients.
State Public Defender Eric Frederickson is asking lawmakers for $17 million to add 18 new lawyers to his staff next fiscal year and to increase wages. That's in addition to another $5.4 million to contract with attorneys in rural counties right now.
We just need this additional bump to adjust salaries throughout the state, make sure that we have contractors in our rural counties, and really make the entire system uniform.
Frederickson's office is at the center of a lawsuit by the ACLU of Idaho, which alleges hundreds, if not thousands, of indigent defendants are being left in jail cells for weeks without a lawyer appointed to them. That case is still working its way through the Idaho Supreme Court system. Legislators will vote on Frederickson's budget later this year. James Dawson, Boise State Public Radio News.
More property tax relief could be on the way to Idaho homeowners. House Speaker Mike Moyle is sponsoring a bill that calls for $50 million in new annual state funding for school renovations and additions. Those are typically paid for by property tax bonds. Moyle also proposed a one-time $50 million boost for the state's property tax relief fund. All this is in addition to property tax relief passed in 2023, now in its second of 3 years directing state budget surplus to property tax relief. This year, that amount was more than $76 million. Moyle's new bill was introduced in the House Revenue and Taxation Committee and could receive a full hearing later in the session. Idaho House Republicans sent a message to public schools yesterday about which flags they find acceptable to be displayed to students. A bill would only allow schools to display the American flag, Idaho's state flag, flags from military branches, and a handful of others. Republican Representative Heather Scott put it this way.
What we've seen with schools flying sex flags, quite frankly, that is what this bill will take care of.
Scott is sponsoring a separate bill that would implement similar flag restrictions for government agencies and municipalities. Representative Lori McCann was one of two Republicans to vote against the measure. She worries it would hamstring teachers from using flags during history lessons.
We are always encouraging our teachers to bring history to life, make our kids understand.
State senators will take up the issue next. Federal immigration officials appear to be considering expanding detention capacity amid the Trump administration's aggressive enforcement that includes using private prisons in our region. The Mountain West News Bureau's Yvette Fernandez has more, based on immigration and customs enforcement documents obtained by the American Civil Liberties Union.
The documents show private prison corporations in Nevada and New Mexico and others have submitted proposals to provide more detention space for ICE. It's part of a theme across the country, where proposals from everything from temporary shelters to monitoring plans have been submitted. ACLU Senior Staff Attorney Eunice Cho says the organization is concerned about the oversight of ICE detainees, pointing to potential conflicts of interest.
Our concern, of course, is that when ICE expands detention capacity in a specific state or a region, it actually enables ICE to be able to be more efficient in terms of immigration enforcement raids in those communities.
Core Civic, which manages locations across the country, including one near Las Vegas, has submitted proposals to increase its ICE detainee capacity. Its Director of Public Affairs, Ryan Gustin, provided a statement saying the company adheres, quote, to all federal standards and are monitored by ICE officials on a daily basis. For the Mountain West News Bureau, I'm Yvette Fernandez.
Some festival goers in Boise this year will be able to buy liquor at events in city parks. A proposal debated and amended by council and city staff over several months came to a vote yesterday, requiring a tie-breaking yes from Mayor Lauren McLean. The ordinance will allow liquor sales permitted through the regular special events process, but alcohol sales will not be allowed in Cecil DeAndres Park in front of the state capitol building. That's the only specific exclusion, though alcohol consumption generally is prohibited in some city parks altogether or specific areas, like within 250 feet of the Greenbelt. Concerns over overconsumption led to some no votes on the idea. Lucy Willits joined Jordan Morales and Kathy Corliss against the ordinance. Willits said she couldn't get on board with moving forward without a public hearing or public feedback from affected agencies, and she wanted a different conversation about supporting community events anyway.
But instead we had a solution to festival profitability given to us, and not the real conversation, which should have been, how do we support these festivals?
Some event organizers, specifically Treefort Music Festival, had asked the city to relax its rules on liquor by the drink. Liquor sales will be allowed by permit only for this year. Police and park staff are generally supportive. That's according to an internal city memo on the proposal. Council President Colin Nash says the council will review the one-year liquor sales pilot for possible renewal, and public hearings will be a part of that process at a later date. Boise State women's basketball last night used a third-quarter explosion to turn a 9-point halftime deficit at home into an 89-80 win over the University of New Mexico. The Broncos had 5 players in double-figure scoring, led by Danny Baez and Tatum Thompson with 18 each. Next up for the 15-7 Broncos, a road trip to Laramie, Wyoming this coming Saturday. That's the Connector for this Wednesday, January 29th. You can always find the latest reports on our website, boisestatepublicradio.org, and download our free app for your smartphone. Take us with you anywhere you go. Listen live, on demand, read our stories, send us feedback. It's all right there in our free app for your smartphone. I'm Troy Oppie. Our news director is Sasha Woodruff. Our general manager is Tom Michael. Have a great Wednesday.